Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, dear guests. I welcome you all in Baku and thank you for participating at the 10th Global Baku Forum. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the members of board of Nizami Gencevi International Center for their achievements. Especially want to express gratitude to the co-chairs of NGIS, Madam Vicky Freiberger and Mr. Sarıgeldin, for their leadership, for their contribution to development of NGIS, and for outstanding achievements with respect to transformation of Global Baku Forum into one of the leading international fora globally. This year I participated in Davos World Economic Forum in January, Munich Security Conference in February, and now here in March in Baku on Global Forum. And just I can say that the level of participants, the intellectual potential of Baku Global Forum is in line with the leading international conferences. And of course, this is a reflection of very thoughtful and productive activity of the co-chairs and the whole board. We have more than 350 participants from more than 60 countries, and among them 50 acting and former presidents and prime ministers, so we can imagine that the level of discussions will be very high, and of course, most important, the recommendations about new approaches to international affairs will be most valuable. I looked at the program of the forum. As usual, it's very comprehensive. It covers issues related to the regions, Middle East, Africa, Western Balkans. At the same time, issues which today are on top of international agenda and the subject of discussions. I also want to express gratitude to Nizami Gencevi International Center for the great respect to the memory and legacy of the great Azerbaijani poet Nizami Gencevi, whose name the center carries. Nizami Gencevi was born, lived, died, and was buried in his native city of Ganja, one of the ancient cities of Azerbaijan. And his wisdom and talent symbolizes the wisdom and talent of people of Azerbaijan. I want to share my views and some information with respect to some of the topics of the discussions which you will have. I was very happy to see one panel on multilateralism, especially taking into account that Azerbaijan this year completes its chairmanship in non-aligned movement, which started in 2019 and was extended by unanimous decision of 120 member states for one more year until the end of 2023. We tried to if I may use this word, to revitalize non-aligned movement, which had great traditions, but unfortunately, during some period of time, was a little bit passive. And for that, we organized international events, free summits. We initiated a special session of UN General Assembly on COVID. We worked hard and created a database with respect to fight against pandemic, which was lately used by World Health Organization. We dedicated one of the summits to fight against pandemic. We were very vocal against vaccine nationalism and unequal distribution of vaccines in the first months of the pandemic. We addressed the issue of post-COVID development. In the meantime, we provided financial humanitarian assistance to more than 80 countries, most of them members of non-aligned movement. We provided $10 million direct donations to World Health Organization to help them to fight the coronavirus. At the same time, we tried to institutionally develop non-aligned movement. For that purpose, based on our initiative, for the first time ever in the more than 60 years of the history of non-aligned movement, the parliamentary network was created. Inaugural meeting took place in Baku, and also youth network was created, and the secretariat for youth network also is based in Baku. We will continue our efforts even after our chairmanship comes to an end at the end of this year, because we see that there is a big need for such a movement in today's world, in today's divided world, when we see maybe the most serious confrontation between East and West since the end of the Cold War. Non-aligned movement can play and should play an important role in building bridges, in creating new approaches to resolution of conflicts, and of course the basic principles of non-aligned movement, so-called Bandung principles. They advocate for peace, cooperation, respect to territorial integrity, sovereignty, and inviolability of borders. With respect to the conflict resolution, of course it will be broadly discussed based on the program of the forum. I can share our experience. Conflict resolutions have two ways, peaceful and not peaceful. We were trying hard to resolve the conflict with Armenia by peaceful means, despite the fact that Armenian occupation created a humanitarian crisis in Azerbaijan. As a result of Armenian occupation, more than 1 million Azerbaijanis became homeless, became refugees and IDPs. Armenia conducted a policy of ethnic cleansing against Azerbaijanis and expelled them from Karabakh, and created sufferings for million Azerbaijanis. Despite our attempts to resolve it peacefully and to persuade Armenia to comply with UN Security Council resolutions which demanded immediate, complete, unconditional withdrawal of Armenian troops from Azerbaijani territories, Armenia just ignored UN Security Council resolutions and demonstrated disrespect to international law and international community. In 1992, just after the conflict started, the OSCE created Minsk Group, but unfortunately for 28 years, Minsk Group did not present any result, did not produce any result. And it seemed to us in the end of the negotiation process that they just wanted to freeze the situation. They wanted to make this conflict frozen forever. But we did not agree with that. And we did what we considered right to do, using our right for self-defense, UN Charter, particularly chapter Article 51, we liberated our territories by force. This was our legitimate right. So we tried to do it peacefully. We failed because there was no constructive approach from the Armenian side, and we did it by force, and we liberated our territory. And now for almost 2.5 years, we are rebuilding the huge territory of 10,000 square kilometers, which is totally devastated. And by the way, the representatives of NGIS visited Shusha, and I had a discussion, a panel discussion in Shusha, and they've seen the destruction in Fizuli, in Shusha, and it's really the sign of barbarism. It is urbicide, culturicide, ecocide, and that was done by our neighbors. People of Azerbaijan have a moral right to demand revenge, and I can understand it. But my message is that we took revenge on the battlefield. We didn't commit any war crimes, unlike Armenians. We did not commit genocide, unlike Armenians did to us. And we took revenge on the battlefield, so now it's time for peace. Therefore, right after the war ended, in November 2020, we launched an initiative to start peaceful negotiations and presented the famous 5 principles, which could be a basis for peace agreement with Armenia. And we hope that international actors which try to facilitate will persuade Armenia not to lose this chance. They lost the chance to become an independent country. They become totally dependent, kind of a colony of other country and now maybe other countries. So they lost the chance to become really independent and to build their future because of aggression against us. So now it's a chance for them to start behaving as a neighbor to its neighbors. So we want peace, we don't want any other war, and we think that peace is achievable. What has been agreed between Azerbaijan and Armenia last October, particularly respect to each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, actually demonstrates that there are no obstacles to achieve peace. With respect to the Armenian minority in Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan is a multi-confessional, multi-ethnic country. The rights of minorities in Azerbaijan are protected by our constitution, and anyone who knows the real situation in Azerbaijan can say that Azerbaijan is a country with a high level of religious and ethnic tolerance, where representatives of different ethnic groups, different confessions live in peace and dignity. So I'm sure that the life of Armenians who live in Karabakh region of Azerbaijan will be much better than it was during the times of occupation. Every conflict has its own history, has its own dynamics, and has its own end, but important is that disputes between countries are resolved on the basis of international law. Territorial integrity and sovereignty cannot be changed by force. This is the position of Azerbaijan, and this position applies not only to our case, but to all conflicts in the world, and we publicly articulate this position. One of the panels is devoted to energy and transportation corridors, energy transition. Just want to inform our guests that since we met last time, last June, there have been a lot of events taking place. First of all, Azerbaijan and European Commission signed a memorandum of understanding on the strategic partnership in the field of energy, which was signed in Baku by Madam Ursula von der Leyen, President of European Commission, and myself. And this memorandum is now being implemented. Azerbaijan increased substantially its natural gas supply to Europe and total export of natural gas. If we exported 19 billion cubic meters in 2029 totally, so this year it will be more than 24 billion cubic meters, and half of that, at least half of that, will go to Europe. And that definitely helped and will continue to help European consumers to get access to natural gas, taking into account the current geopolitical situation. We increased our investments in our gas fields, and now we even think, or not only think, we are working on expansion of the export pipelines. Southern Gas Corridor was commissioned, the final segment of the pipeline was commissioned on 31st December 2020. But now it's a little bit more than 2 years have passed, and we need to expand the system. TANAP from 16 to 32 billion cubic meters, and TAP from 10 to 20 billion cubic meters. And that is only because of the growing demand in Europe. otherwise we wouldn't have invested. And since Russian-Ukrainian war started, we got requests from more than 10 European countries with respect to gas supplies or to increase the gas supply, and we're working on that. And it's not by chance that European Commission calls Azerbaijan a reliable partner. This is the case. We've always been a reliable partner. We export oil, oil products, natural gas, electricity, petrochemicals to international markets, including European markets. And last December, there was also a remarkable event taking place in Bucharest, when Azerbaijan, Georgia, Hungary, and Romania signed an agreement on green energy and transmission, which was witnessed by the President of the European Commission. And based on that, we will build a transmission line from offshore wind farms in Azerbaijan to Europe. Part of this transmission line will go under the Black Sea. And now we are in the process of feasibility study. The first steering committee of this project took place in Baku this February. And it will be a huge change of European energy map. We already changed European energy map by building oil pipelines, gas pipelines, and now electric lines, which will deliver green energy. I just want to inform you that since we had the last 9th Global Baku Forum, Azerbaijan signed contracts and MOUs with several leading energy companies of the world, which will provide creation of 25 gigawatts of green energy in Azerbaijan. And IFC already approved the final assessment of our offshore wind potential in the Caspian Sea, which is 157 gigawatts. Not to mention about 40 onshore. So this is the future for the world energy. This is the future for Azerbaijan. Energy transition here is developing very rapidly. Just as I said, since we met last time in June, we did what I have said. And also there'll be discussions on transportation corridors. Just want to inform you that last year transit through Azerbaijan grew more than 75%. Our modern transportation infrastructure now is needed more than ever before. With railroad connections, highway connections, with the biggest shipping fleet in the Caspian, with the biggest air cargo fleet in the region, we really contributed a lot to transportation security, because many countries now, they need transportation security. They are looking for new routes, and that one of these routes is through Azerbaijan. I'm sure there'll be very interesting discussions around these and other topics which are in the program, and as usual, valuable ideas and recommendations of our guests will help to plan our future, will be good recommendations to the governments, to world leaders, and thus I think we will try to contribute to make our world more safe and secure. Wish you interesting discussions. Thank you for your attention.